Hi, this is Jim Ziegler, and this is the Dawg Pound. Another fantastic show, another incredible week. 8 rowdy participants, starting with Patrick O'Brien, the highline used car guy.
Hey, Jim. Always a pleasure to be with you guys. Always a pleasure.
You selling any cars over there?
Oh, yeah. We've got plenty of inventory, and we are definitely moving them around.
What's the name of the store?
It's Gravity Auto Group, and then Atlanta Autos is our flagship store. That's where our super highline. Yes, independent. Yep.
And you've got some stores selling what, $200,000 merchandise, $100,000.
Yeah, our flagship store, our average inventory cost is about 65 grand. We got about 100. Yeah, and we got about 150 cars on the ground with that. Multiple cars over $250,000.
Okay, we got the duck. This guy, Ryan Duck Dunston. Hello, Ryan.
Duck Dunston, the Atlanta car guy.
The Atlanta car guy. Sales manager. Thornton Road Hyundai. Friend of mine for how long now?
What has it been, 6 or 7 years?
6 or 7 years.
7 years.
I raised you in the car business.
Yeah, I learned a lot from you in your other office.
I've raised you.
Yeah. I'll take it.
Now you're a sales manager. Look at you.
Yep, trying to pass the torch.
Now you talk about a rowdy crew. I couldn't think of rowdy without my good friend. I'm talking about a celebrity CPA, international Playboy scuba diver, Ken Rosenfield. Hey, Ken.
How are you, Jim?
Hey, Ken, what's going on with the CPA business?
Doing a lot of merger and acquisition work, a lot of valuations. We have more valuations in-house I think we've done in 5 years.
I'm telling you, I have seen more. And the biggest thing that gets me about all the buy-sells, they're not the big public groups. They're individual groups selling to individual groups, privately owned to privately owned.
A lot of that, yes. We're working on a pretty big transaction now of about 20 stores that's going to be purchased by a private equity group. So we have one of those going on.
I see a whole bunch of people that never been in the car business all of a sudden jumping in. Good luck, guys.
What's really interesting is Toyota. I think they're a little fatigued with the private equity groups and the not dealing with one dealer they can control. So I think Toyota's, you can see a lot of turndowns, I think, by Toyota.
Yeah, well, Toyota, and we're going to talk about Toyota and Nissan in a minute. Now, to my right, well, actually, to left on the screen, Christy Roman from Now Digital. Hello, Christy.
Hello, how are you?
Pretty good.
Thank you for inviting me.
Hang on a second, that was my phone.
Hi, Tim. Hi, Jennifer. Hi, Patrick. Nice to see you guys.
Hi, Christy.
Okay, tell me about what's going on with Now Digital.
We're just trying to help dealers make sure that the vendors that they're using do what they're supposed to do. We basically help them hold FCA and Shift Digital and all these other vendors that they use accountable to that they're getting what they pay for.
Okay, fantastic. And from Pennsylvania this week, not from Spain, not from Moscow, but from Pennsylvania, the mad Russian, the finance expert, the reinsurance guru of the industry, Max Zanan. Hello, Max.
Hey, Jim. Nice to be here. Jim, question for you. What do you think is going to happen in a year from now when all the private equity buyers will realize that car business is difficult and really low margin?
All these private equity people jumping in. I saw a bunch of people from India buying dealerships. I mean, excuse me. Since the little guy from India can sell me a service contract on the phone, all of a sudden they think they can own dealerships. Yeah, I'm calling about your car's warranty. Yeah, I understand. Yeah.
Good.
And the queen of automotive executive management. I'm talking about a most qualified woman in the world. right, I'm talking about, well, she's not here, but we got Jennifer Briggs today.
Wow.
Hey, listen, I just sell cars, man. That's all I do.
I'm talking, in all seriousness, this woman is one of the most qualified female general manager executives running dealerships, BDC, technology marketing. This woman is everything. I'm telling you, the foremost executive of the executives. And by the way, the two women we're looking at on the screen today are involved deeply in women in automotive, which if you are a female in the car business and you're not in women in automotive, you need to be in it. You know,
Yes.
if I was transgender, I'd be in it.
Jesus, Jim.
You're kind of in it anyway. We actually need men too.
Yes.
Can men join it?
Yes.
I didn't know.
We don't have men who support the women and want
I
to
didn't know
hire
that
them
either.
to do it, then what's the point?
That's right.
I've been helping you guys
I was
every
gonna
chance
say-
I get.
Since the beginning.
Jim, you have opened a lot of doors for a lot of ladies in this business.
And you helped us with our first event. You promoted it. You've been with us every step of the way.
And I'm going to be with you every step in the way of the way.
We really appreciate that.
And now a man with a similar hairstyle to mine, the SEO Animal. I'm talking about the king of SEO marketing from Wikimotive advertising agency, car business. My friend, what's your name? Oh, Tim Martell. Hello, Tim.
Hey, Jim. Thanks for having me on today. Great to be here.
Yeah, I've never had to introduce 8 people before. This is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know it's almost time to wrap up the show. Just
Right, the show is over.
right?
Tune in next week. Guess what, folks? We'll start off the conversation. I got a letter from Audi of America. And the letter I got from Audi of America says my data has been breached on my lease on my 2019 Audi Q7 through Volkswagen Credit. So I was all pissed off at Volkswagen Credit. How dare you breach my data? And of course, Volkswagen Credit says to me in the letter, we will actually buy security for your credit file. And most of the information that was leaked was low level information that you could probably get out of a phone book. A phone book still existed. But it went on to say that you were one of the extremes that had more of your data, so they got some of my secret stuff, is what they're telling me. I was the minority that they got the real secret stuff. I don't know if they got my social security number. But then I read on, and guess what? It wasn't VW that leaked my credit. It was Shift Digital.
Oh.
Shifty Digital.
Oh,
Yep, Shifty Digital did it. The people that control the go
I don't understand why dealers don't file a class action lawsuit against all these fake digital vendors that make it hard to do business with well-meaning vendors that could do so much more, but they're hamstrung by these extra margins. It should be absolutely illegal what they do, in my opinion.
Well, I don't recall signing anything that third-party vendors could share my confidential data and my personally identifiable security information.
And did they leak it from the digital retail? How did Shift even come across it? Because
I don't know. I just read that in Automotive News that it was Shift Digital that leaked it. Now, if that's wrong, I apologize and I'll retract any time. But I just read the Automotive News article that it was Shift Digital that leaked it.
I mean, I imagine it's some kind of a product, like some kind of equity program or something that they have that they run through Shift that would have caused that.
Yeah, and
The only
with
thing I
Audi
bought
and
was the total
VW,
maintenance program.
they make everything pass through there. You know, on my Audi store, we had installed a product that had never been approved before. And thankfully, we were able to get it pushed through. But it's like, it's an awesome conversion tool. But we got to pass it all to Shift so they can relabel it as Audi Digital, AKA Shift, when it has nothing to do with them. So I think about how many thousands of my customers' information is passing across those hands between we got 2 V-dubs and an Audi store, like I'm starting to get a headache now.
Well, and it's only a matter of time before you as the dealer end up getting hit with the lawsuit first, and then have to turn around and sue the manufacturer and sue Shift Digital and the third parties. And meantime, you're using all your operating capital to shell out to even go through that process. But it's coming. And I mean,
well, I'll tell you what, if my data gets abused as a result of this, I'm going to be one of those consumers that sues. And my good friend Ken Rosenfield up there in the top corner supplied me with a kick-ass lawyer.
So now let me ask, how does, in case some people that are watching might not know, how does something like this even happen? Is this that they're pulling it from the DMS and they're leaking it that way? What is it that's actually causing it?
There's a legal agreement. There's a legal agreement between Shift Digital and the dealership. So it's like a remarketing type agreement. So you should have in your paperwork somewhere in there where you did allow your data to go to a third party. And you have to expressly,
the dealer
state that you're not going to allow to do that, just like the box you check.
The dealer or the consumer signed
but you won't allow it. Yeah, the dealer has like a remarketing agreement with Shift.
But what about the consumer?
The consumer, you're allowing that data. So somewhere in your paperwork, there's a box you checked or didn't check that says you're allowing your data to be sold to a third party and the dealership selling that data off. Max shaking.
Yeah, but read some of those.
The paperwork that Ken is referring to is called the privacy notice.
Yeah.
That must be presented to every customer when they fill out a credit app. And this is an FTC form that has 6 different versions. So the dealership must pick one version and stick to it in the showroom and on its website. And when you look at them, they all look the same, but the answers to the questions, how you share the information, is different. So before you choose the privacy notice that you want to use, read through it and pick the one most applicable to the way you do business.
Well, anyway, by the way, Max is a compliance expert.
Right.
There's 2 or 3 compliance experts here now. I've spoken at 3 NADA conventions as a layman on compliance. Matter of fact, I spoke at one of your AICPA conventions on compliance, if you'll recall, Ken. So I'm a layman expert. Max is a layman non-attorney expert, and so is Ken Rosenfield.
I was going to say
CPA. So.
Well, I'm no expert on this, but Max and I have had these discussions many times.
Well, I mean, we're experts as laymen. I mean, we're not going to get into the legal.
I'm a self-proclaimed guru.
There you go.
Guru, yes.
Nice.
Me and Jill been over.
Field.
Anyway, that's the subject I wanted to start out with today, because the notice of security breach incident is the way the letter starts off. What happened on March 10th of 2021? We were alerted an unauthorized third party may have obtained, and that's where the letter starts. So anyway, I don't want to beat that horse any more than we have. I just read in Automotive News that it was Shift Digital. If that's correct, I'm going to stand by this. I'll retract it otherwise, but that's what I got. Now, I heard something. Yeah, what you got there? What you got there? Oh, I heard I'm watching the duck waving his arm there. You got somebody coming in there, Duck?
They actually want to work a deal. When somebody's trying to avoid a certain sales manager and get with you instead. Kind of like mom and pop.
Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's the trouble with salespeople. Yeah. Salespeople will shop for a second opinion.
Right.
If they don't like what the sales manager said, they'll shop around to get another opinion. I can't. I was doing F&I one time at Banner Ford in Decatur early in my career, and I told this salesman, I said, "Bring the customer in." He said, "Mr. Ziegler, they're looking for $225 a month." I said, "Bring them in." Well, you didn't tell them $225 a month, and the salesman goes, "You ever see a professional wrestler that gets caught with something in their trunks, but the referee didn't see it, but the crowd saw it?" That's your salespeople. They get all that. You didn't tell that customer $225 a month.
They did.
But
Yeah, of course
no,
they
so
did.
I'm going to ask them.
They
So
did.
vendor salesman went and got the general manager of the dealership. And the general manager came in my F&I office. He said, Jim, Robert's got a problem. Could you explain it to me? I said, just a second, Fred. I said, Robert, did I tell you to get the customer? Yeah. Did I tell you to go get the damn general manager? No. If I ever tell you to bring the customer in my office and you bring the general manager in my office, I'm going to throw your ass right through the plate glass right in front of me. With HR today, you can't do that, by the way.
No,
That was in the
no,
80s.
sir. No way.
You could think it.
Different times. Now, Ken,
How'd that work out for Robert, Jim?
Robert. Oh, I turned to Fred. I said, Fred, you have any questions? I think you explained it. Fred said, I think you explained it. Then the general manager left the office. So anyway, I'm a manager at the dealership. That's Ken. You had a little subject before the pre-show. What's happening with Ford credit right now and floor planning and what's going on?
Well, we were just at one of our clients was a very, very large Ford dealership, and they have offset accounts with Ford Motor Credit. And the ratios that Ford Motor Credit has are so bad right now, they actually had to have their customers, the Ford dealer had to take their money out of the CMA account, and they're still paying interest on a zero balance, so paying interest on the amount of money that was still in the CMA account. So our client just put the money in their bank. So now they're double dipping on the interest. So they're getting interest 2 times for the same amount of money because Ford Motor Credit can't hold their CMA monies right now.
Wow. So they're paying interest.
That's incredible. Yeah, it's amazing. I don't know how long the program's last, but our client's taking full advantage of it.
Well, and you got some of the biggest dealers and dealer groups in the country as a CPA. You're one of the, like I say, when I say you're a celebrity CPA, your firm has got some really big clients.
We're lucky. We got some nice clients.
You're tuned in, but what I'm trying to say is you're tuned in. You're not blowing smoke out both ends.
3 ends, not 2 ends.
There you go.
I'm a cigar guy, so
all these buy sells. Everybody's buying and selling. I have never seen so much buy sell in the market as we're seeing right now. And as I mentioned earlier, the buy sells are not big public corporations buying individually owned dealerships. They are equity firms buying. They're individual buying individual. I see that example, the Faulkner Group up in Pennsylvania just bought some of the they bought some stores. Bannister was just sold, just bought Sheehy Group. Sheehy just sold to Bannister. I don't know if it's all the dealerships or some of them. The Eric Savage dealerships. And I know Eric, I've been doing business with Eric for years. Savage dealership, Toyota sold to Kelly Group. So I'm seeing a lot.
I did see that.
A lot of them going back. I can see that one particularly because I've known Eric. I've consulted the Eric Savage when he was first getting in the business. I've worked for them for years. So a lot of stuff happening there. Comments? Any comments?
Well, I just hope that keeps up because it'll be next year when I'm ready to buy mine. So I just hope.
Hope they're still selling, right, Jennifer?
Oh, they will be. I feel like it. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago. We're going to see, some of these big public groups will actually start sloughing off the non-profitable points. And I mean, starting in accounting, I think somebody said something about how it's difficult in this business. And I think from financial statement forward, for me, it always seems like it was simple, but that's a different type of mentality. So I'm sure there'll be plenty of things for me to scoop up next year.
Have you been certified by any of the manufacturers?
So not yet. I know you and I were talking last week privately about some.
Sometimes I ask questions to which I know the answers.
I know I can't answer that yet. So
yeah, okay, but you're working on that.
Yes.
If any of the manufacturers are watching right now, this is one of the most qualified women in the car business. You need to scoop this girl up, get her involved. She's there. Okay. CDK bought Roadster.
Craziness.
What about that, Tim?
Well, I mean, it's the beginning of the end, right? I mean, this is what we've seen for decades now, right? I mean, you build a great company.
You build a great company, and then what happens?
And then you sell it to a big faceless corporation that strips all the talent out, and
All the support.
you know, then you get contracts with Shifty Digital in there, and they take 40% of the gross right out of the deal. All your top talent says, "I'm out of here. See you later." And the guys that are sitting there picking their noses are the only ones that are left, and now they've got 5 times as many clients on a watered down product, and there you go. That's what you end up with. 18 months. That's the clock.
Damn it, Martell!
Now.
I knew if
Start
I
that
asked
watch.
you'd hold back on me.
I think you're being generous with 18 months.
Yeah.
Martell is so
Yeah,
unfiltered.
yeah.
I mean, you know, if he was a pet, I'd put a leash on him. I mean, this guy. Absolutely. Okay, Roadster. I've always said Roadster was the foremost of the digital retailers as far as total transaction.
It's a really good product. I mean, one of the things that I see consistently is an unwillingness among technology-oriented vendors to really work with other vendors that expose shortcomings. I mean, that's something I do, you know, because I'm an SEO company, we live in the dealer's data, and attribution is a world that we live in a lot. And when you look at a lot of these digital retailing tools out there, they suck attribution into a black hole. They don't communicate with a dealer's analytics, or, you know, it creates conflicts that make you go, what really happened here?
Right.
Roadster was instantly willing to kind of open the door and work directly with us to solve some of those problems.
Not only that, but Roadster was flexible. Like Germain Toyota in Naples,
exactly.
Good friends of mine, 500 units a month. Germain Toyota used Roadster as a hybrid. They weren't using exactly as Roadster designed it, and Roadster was able to block and tackle and move pieces around and do the things that would nobody.
They must have had a better Roadster rep than I do.
Really? Well,
are you saying they're not flexible with you, Jennifer, or they haven't been?
I'm saying the flexibility that they said that they have is kind of BS. But
Rudy Thun and I had a big talk. Hey, Duck, are you using any digital retail over there? I know you're out in the sticks, and all your customers got grass in their mouth, and they walk in a little.
No. We're doing pretty well with digital retail right now, just because of the climate of everything and the virus from last year. So digital has grown tremendously in the Atlanta area, and that's full retail and full delivery. So we're loving it, but we're not ones that run from the technology shift.
Which vendors are you using?
Our digital retail is direct from dealer.com. But we're
Accelerate.
It's all concept in our store.
Yes, fantastic.
But we're also canceling companies like TrueCar. That was the first company we wrote off a couple of months ago, because with this price structure, we're just not even dealing with those kind of customers, those kind of calls right now.
Yep.
Our internet is going through challenges right now with this new pricing structure, but it's all for the greater good.
Unbelievable. Ken, got some comments there?
Yeah, I got a question actually. It's a big issue that I talk with our clients about it almost daily, a few times a day, is used car inventories and what people are paying to stock their cars right now. I bought a goof off car last summer, just a Jeep Wrangler, and one of our clients offered us $10,000 more than what I paid for it last summer to try to resell this. And a lot of our clients are starting to get really value bloated inventories. So I mean, I'm just with you guys, all the brain power on this.
Yeah.
What do you see? When do you think it's going to crash sometime?
We've talked about that. It's definitely going to crash. I mean, the bubble's going to burst. I'm telling dealers right now, wholesale regularly. Keep turning that inventory, because there's going to come somebody. You ever see the game of musical chairs when you're a kid?
Yep.
Somebody's going to sit down. There ain't going to be a damn chair there.
So what's the recommended day supply? Because, you're trying to be 30, 45 day supply and used, and, you could have a lot of like Niagara Falls and water there. So, what kind of day supply you guys recommend? 30 day.
What I think is important in that, and this is something we've been doing for a long time, only because I don't like to pay additional floor plan expenses, but it's not just about a target on that market day supply in general for your entire inventory, but you need to get really, really smart and look for the ones that you can retail out of in 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. Those are my targets. We're analyzing our sales data and the market data, and we have been going hot and heavy after this acquisition strategy for a while, but we're not even looking at equity even before what was happening now. We are only looking for the units that my used car managers can retail out of in 2 to 3 weeks. That's
we're actually telling our clients less than that. We're like a handful of days. Just boom, get rid of these things as fast as you can and stock them as quickly as you can, but move them fast. Maybe 3 or 4 days.
Well, we're running into problems with merchandising, which, we're finally back up to over 2,000 units in stock, thank goodness. But, that's really where we are coming into these issues. And I'm like, you guys, can't help you sell them if you can't get them through recon. Right. So I think that's for us. That's always been a bit of a struggle, I think, with the larger organizations, is making sure you don't get bottlenecked there. But we're sliding on our actual days to market right now. Let me jump in here for a second.
When I was working with Lynn Hickey Dodge in the 90s, when they set the Guinness Book of World Records, 2,800 plus units in a month, that was in 94. Lynn Hickey was selling 1,500 units every month in and month out. They had a month where they sold 2,800 and set the record. But they had a dedicated recon department. With dedicated techs, dedicated lifts. And Lynn Hickey could turn any car from trade-in to frontline ready in 72 hours, or the recon manager got fined unless it needed a paint job or waiting
on parts. Yeah.
So in other words, if you, I got 20 stores, I'm going to have a central recon center somewhere with dedicated techs. And that goes back to the 90s to know how to do that. Now, by the way, Ken, if any of your big clients are having a struggle, this woman is a consultant that is dealing with some big players, and she's super successful. So you just put her contact information in your Rolodex, your electronic Rolodex. Okay, let's move off of that a second. CarMax bought 52% of Edmunds. 52%.
Yeah, that's been in the works since last year, though. They got 20% last year. Oh, I don't think the ink dries till next month, right? On the 52.
Well, yeah, but still, in all,
it's gross.
Why would any other dealer do business with Edmunds, knowing that your biggest used car competitor? Get out of that.
I've not done business with Edmunds.
Yeah, that's been a while
ever
for me
before.
too.
So, one more reason to not like them.
And especially the dealers to where CarMax is a big player in your market. Not every market has massive CarMax stores everywhere. If you take Metro Atlanta, literally where I'm sitting right now, there's a CarMax about 3 miles away, and Ryan's only about 10 miles away from me, and he's got a CarMax right across the street. Right. These guys are massive all over the Atlanta market because obviously it's a huge metro market. But if you're a dealer in a major metro market and you still even consider Edmunds, you got to pull the plug there. You have to.
So you're saying it's tainted information what they're going to be producing?
Yeah.
No, I'm agreeing with you. I'm absolutely agreeing with you.
I think so.
Very jaded information.
I don't think it's a benefit. Obviously, I never really saw a huge benefit in Edmunds anyway. But now it's even more of a kind of like a red flag. Like, oh shit, time to go.
Something to remember too is it's not just enough to cancel or not to do business with them. You have to have control over where your data is going, because just because you terminate that agreement doesn't mean they're not just taking your inventory and using it against you to funnel leads to your competition. So you have to cut that off.
And you've got to piggyback on Tim's point there. A lot of inventory syndication companies just automatically send your feed to all of these people, and Edmunds is on that list. You also need to get in and find the scripting, because even before this acquisition with CarMax, I have found all kinds of uniquely tagged traffic on my website that says Edmunds when we don't do business with Edmunds. So it's like, how the hell did that get there? And then when you start looking, we're total geeks about it with the different technologies that we use. So if I start looking at some of my tracking that's looking at scripts, third-party scripts on my site, and oh, what's this ping and where is this going? But to Tim's point, it's not enough to just cancel with Edmunds. You've got to make sure they don't have feeds from your inventory provider. You need to get with your website company and make sure there's no scripting left on your site that they may have hidden, because they gave everybody that free trade tool for a while.
They got a pixel on your website.
Lots of vendors do that.
And there's multiple paths. There's multiple paths. Like, you can't just check with your website provider. You can't just check with HomeNet. When you start really digging into the various paths that your data take to the web, there are so many duplicates and redundancies. So just because you called your website provider and they killed that feed for you, it could still be getting there through another route. You really have to dig in and find everything.
Let me jump in a second. Now, I had a conversation with one of the executives at HomeNet, who's no longer with them, but this was a couple of years ago. And I said, you're selling dealers' inventory data to third parties. And he replied to me, it's not that much money. It's not that much. Wait a second. Any money you're getting selling dealers' inventory is too much.
But I think dealers need to, one thing that I think is the fact that some of these scripts are taking control of the actual dealer traffic on their website and capturing it and reselling it for various advertising purposes, which in my opinion is even worse than your inventory. If you don't check what vendors are using your own customers coming to your website, submitting leads on your website, they can
1,000%.
That's a big problem in the industry.
Oh, that's the lowest funnel behavioral data. They'll scrape that crap from you and then sell the crap back to you.
A lot of dealers don't even know what they have on their site.
Okay, let me further that. Every dealer in the world needs to Google some of your VIN numbers every month. You need to take some of the VIN numbers on your website and put the VIN number in Google by itself, just the VIN number. And
you'll be surprised, actually.
Your inventory on their site that you didn't authorize.
I told you about that 6 months ago, Jim, remember?
Do not syndicate your inventory. Do not. All these little pirate websites out there, and I've proven it over and over again. These little pirate websites that are supposed to be syndication sites that are supposed to be gathering customers, they're also converting customers bait and switch. If you use a cell phone to call one of those leads, you're going to find out they're going to call you back and say, well, that unit is no longer available, but we have a similar unit.
And I found that on my Porsche store, and I called you and I was livid. And it was cars.com. Cars.com said, well, we were trying to get you more exposure. So we decided to syndicate your inventory out to all these different, and I was like, no. Like,
I wasn't going to mention cars.com, but
well, I did. I know sometimes you can only beat up one company per show. I'll jump in on that one. But
Jim can beat up anybody, anytime, any day.
As many times as he likes.
But I remember I found it out and I was so furious, and I reached out and Jim's like, I could have told you that a year ago, kid. I was like, okay, all right. I had
but the syndication is a bad strategy. I don't. People represent syndication as being good. It's not good. when I say all these little pirate websites out there, they all own used car lots as well, or used car inventory, and you don't forget about Detroit Trading Company. Detroit Trading Company in Detroit is a lead broker. They sell leads back and forth between all these vendors. They buy leads and sell leads, and they wholesale leads. Leads have a 3% possibility of a sale, and they got an 18% possibility of a sale. And vendors know if they're selling you a 3% lead or an 18% lead. Jerry Maguire, the leads suck. Well, yes, some leads do suck. Okay, somebody jump in there. I'm on a rant.
Well, how do we stave this off now that everybody's aware of it, right? Everybody knows it's happening.
They've been
it's
aware
happening
of it.
consistently. How do we start giving the information to the dealers, like the people that are watching this show, to get them away from it, to where it no longer is happening? So we're not talking about it anymore. What are some of the tricks, Jennifer, other than, like you said, Jim, Googling your own VIN numbers and stuff? But Jennifer, what is a good way that you can identify this? An easier way?
Well, I don't know if there's an easy way. I really don't, because there's so many different facets to it. From the website and scripting, owning your own GTMs instead of letting your agency own them. Right? Making sure that you have eyes on everything that's getting put onto your website, which is really hard if you have the OEM website, right? Because the OEM says, you have to have our GTM and DDC's GTM and all of these things. But then every single partner is just, okay, let us do it. And it's really hard, especially if you're a single rooftop and you don't have somebody to be the teeth for you when it comes to that. But looking at I shame on me, right? So many different rooftops going on, but I was shocked to see the Edmunds data feeds straight from my inventory management, right from my Viato to Edmunds for stores that we don't even do
right
business
from
with
Viato,
right from them.
You're coming in.
But that's the easiest thing to do, though, is to go audit your feed with whoever you're using. Go look and call them up. Don't just look at go call them up. Are you sending my feed? Send me a new agreement. Let me see who I'm sending my feed to. I want to change. I don't want you to send it to all this stuff, because they automatically do it. And I just don't think a lot of dealers pay attention to it because they thought it was a benefit to them.
Well, and what I did, Christy, on top of that was I scheduled reporting out of Viato to send that to me on a regular basis. So I don't have to remember to go in.
There you go. So that's it. So schedule the reporting to actually just feed it to you, so you don't have to go in and look for it. You have it right there and it's on the top of your mind.
Yeah. For me, that's from an efficiency standpoint. There are a lot of things I've got to do that.
Let me jump in a second.
When you're managing so many different. Yeah.
There is a program that is pretty layman friendly. I mean, there are even more sophisticated programs that do what I'm about to say, but I'm not a tech wizard, There is a layman's program called Ghostery. Now, like Ghostery, like ghost. Ghostery, ERY, Ghostery. Ghostery, on any website you're looking at, will show you what is being exported off of that website, what tracking pixels are on it, and when you go to a website that the manufacturer dictated that you have to use, you're going to be amazed where your information's going. Your information is being exported by your website provider that you're paying to people that you don't want to have your information.
And if you're on the OEM website, you can't do anything about it. And they won't minify the scripts, and they won't stop taking it.
Yeah, let's back up a minute, though, because the question is really, how do we get to stop talking about it? And to me, I think the answer is, this is where the NADA has really failed the dealer community, is in the area of technology. I mean, I know we're kind of, I'm like dinosaur light here in terms of how long I've been in the business here. But I mean, Jim, you probably remember when the NADA used to lobby on behalf of the dealer, and like legislation to protect the franchise model in the dealer community was part of the role that they served.
Tim, how many times has NADA marched off the battlefield bruised and beaten up? And I mean, I am so sick of NADA right now. I mean, I haven't spoken at an NADA conference since 2015, and I fired them. I said, I'm not speaking at your conferences anymore. And it just blew their mind because I'm one of the top rated speakers they ever had. And I said, I'm not speaking at NADA anymore. I don't believe in the organization. You're not operating in the dealer's behalf. I mean, I have said that over and over again. And, this guy that just left, Peter, or whatever his name was, I really didn't like him. I don't know the new guy. But, we got to stop taking bows and start doing something. You absolutely have it there, big guy. Okay. Well,
the dealers, I was just going to say, the dealers really need to come together on stuff like this. They should not be allowing FCA. They should be not allowing the manufacturer to take profits away from vendors who can't do what they're supposed to do, so that FCA and Chrysler, everybody can get their kickback. It's really tragic. I think it's really held I think it holds the industry back. I mean, it keeps them operating in a, less productive method.
It's almost like somebody thought, if we give dealers crappy products that create high friction for the consumer, so they blame the dealer for the shitty process they have to go through. Maybe we could just move the franchise model right out and put our own stores in like Elon.
This is Tim's opinion, folks.
I agree with you on that, Tim.
Yeah, 100%.
I completely agree with you on that. They're still trying to figure out how they can get the dealers out of the franchise business. They're doing it more surreptitiously than ever before.
The manufacturers are bad at it. Manufacturers do not know how to sell cars. They're bad at it.
They've proven that time and time again.
Yep. Time and time again.
People don't think like that. They're just looking at what they think they can do.
Remember the Ford Auto Collections and when General Motors was trying to run their own dealerships? I mean, they've always crashed and burned terribly. And what do? They always have to come back to the dealers.
Sorry.
Right now, we've got Nissan that has tremendously mistreated their dealers. If I had to pick some of the worst franchises to own from a dealer's viewpoint, Nissan's got to be right at the top. Mistreated their dealers, abused their dealers, and now they're appealing to their dealers. Please bail us out one more time.
Which makes it a good time to buy one.
You think so?
Really?
Well, yeah, I mean, it's cyclical, right? I mean, I remember 25 years ago when it was kind of the same thing, and they had shitty, uninnovated products, and it was really a terrible model. And then we went through the early 2000s, and the product innovation was there, and the quality of the vehicles were there, and they were continually putting out new product, and then they just decided that they didn't need dealers to sell cars anymore. They took away all the incentives. They took away all the lease penetration. And now you've got dealers that are hamstrung by the policies of the post-Carlos Ghosn era, and dealers are walking away from them, which is bringing the value. I mean, you could buy a Nissan dealer with no blue sky right now. That's an attractive,
Well, I'm trying to picture Carlos Ghosn sneaking out of Japanese prison in a suitcase.
It's like a James Bond villain.
He did look like the Dr. No in the first Bond movie. Carlos, I always thought he was a James Bond villain,
There's definitely some interesting sagas in this business.
Okay, let's talk about something else for a second. We got the Duck sitting over here taking all this in. Duck, you're selling Hyundai. Now, when I was working with Westway Ford back, we were selling 1,000 units a month back in the early 90s. They got a Hyundai franchise. And the salesman would sell a Hyundai and pray that it made it to the street. They were the worst quality cars. And then a couple of years ago, the Hyundai Corporation and the Kia Corporation had engine problems. And they tried to cover it up, but everybody in the business knew about it. I mean, the engines they were replacing engines and not even telling people. So now you've got some of the best quality products in the market. You've actually got some cars that were selling for $5,000 over sticker before the inventory shortage. What's going on with the Hyundai right now?
Well, first, I got to say I'm a firm believer of every manufacturer has a service department for a reason. Okay, so whatever that is. But yeah, I mean, the Hyundai brand is something I'm proud enough to talk about publicly. So I don't drive a Hyundai, but I do sell them, and I'm proud of them. But right now, inventory-wise and pricing, yeah, we had Genesis here in Atlanta area that Genesis that were selling 14, 15 grand over sticker on the
Genesis?
The GD80s, yeah, the first SUV that
Sell
dropped.
for how much?
Our biggest one was a well, let's take that out. Let's just say I've seen grosses upwards of 18 grand. And Genesis reached out to us specifically and asked us to kind of.
And that's on a $40,000 car, correct?
No, this was on a $59,000 MSRP.
Oh, still a $59,000.
They go up to 70.
Yeah.
They go up to the high 60s and 70s on some of these Genesis models.
Hey, Doug, what kind of grosses you getting on used?
Right now, we're averaging upwards total, maybe 3,700 on pre-owned right now, front and back for the month. When we're doing higher, almost 4,200 on new right now.
We're in some clients in major metro areas that are getting even higher than that. It's crazy.
Jeez. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
In our group in Florida, we got stores average $7,700 a copy this month.
So in Florida here, that's
Leesburg, yeah.
Yep, Leesburg's a great market for that. Exactly. Yep. Mm-hmm.
To hear that you're making bigger grosses round trip on new cars in comparison to used cars blows my mind. Being a used car highline guy, that just I can't even wrap my head around that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get those highline profits. That's a totally different game, though.
Yeah, I think this is
The clock is ticking, because once they open 3 shifts and start stuffing you with these cars, it's going to be a race to the bottom.
Oh, it's going to crash hard.
And all the heroes their trophies are going to be gone real quick when it starts to get tough to sell again.
When those chips come in, literally when the chips come in for those Ford trucks, there's like 700,000 sitting around Metro Airport right now.
700,000.
Those things would be
unleashed. Here's the thing.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. So when these chips come out, do you all really believe that they're just going to slam them in every single one of these cars and then just load the cars to the dealership?
We were joking today. We were joking today to clients that the chips they won't put in are the ones that have the alternating motor that shuts the motor off and turns the motor back on again. It's a real annoying, annoying delay. They'll skip those chips. They'll just put the starter chips in.
Yeah,
gotcha.
I've got a brand new Lincoln Aviator, one of the finest cars I've ever owned. I'm so pleased with this car, and that is the most annoying feature. But you can turn it off. Where the car stops. You stop at a red light and your engine shuts down. You turn
that on in Florida. You push that button before you push your air conditioning button on in Florida.
What?
You turn that off before you turn your air conditioning on in Florida. That's how annoying that thing is.
Also, Jennifer, since you're up in Michigan, I read an article. I saw pictures posted up. It looked like it was a Chrysler plant to where the whole entire plant was flooded. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of new cars just completely destroyed, flooded. These cars all had chips and they were ready to go, and they're destroyed. Is that just one area, or was that multiple places in Michigan?
No, that was just one area, and that was pretty stupid. I mean, if you know when you're in a floodplain and why they had those sitting where they had them sitting. I saw probably the same pictures and articles that you saw. I'm down in Indianapolis now, but I knew exactly where that location was, and when those photos were there, I'm like, come on. Now, I mean, you don't have a lot to do right now right? Because you don't have, certainly there's one guy whose job was to make sure you don't park the crap where it can flood during the season where things
floods happen.
Whoa.
And it blew my mind.
I mean,
I
don't have any CDJR points, but I thought, yay for my CDJR friends, because maybe that, eradicating that inventory from availability will give them this little scarcity push a little bit longer. But then I was like,
hey, for Jennifer and for Doug, what What has the evolution of fixed ops over the last 12 months looked like for you guys? And what I mean by that is one of the things that I've seen in the New England area, and particularly metro areas where the perception of COVID has kept people home and away from doing things longer than in more rural communities where it seems like people feel safer to return things to normal, is that people just aren't even coming in for their regular service, for oil changes and things that are even free. Do you expect to see, or have you experienced that at your stores? And if you have, when do you sort of think that shift is going to change? And are you prepared for that with the number of techs and bays that you need to really kind of crank that out?
Well, I mean, I'm never prepared. I wish I had one of these technology companies would make a cloning machine for techs. That would be awesome.
Oh my gosh.
But we didn't really see a decrease in foot traffic in the front or the back of the house here. But in Indiana, every department was considered essential. And so, you know, we didn't really see the dip. I still have no hours to sell. Like, I think there's been a lot of focus for people saying, hey, you need to focus on service and this, that, and whatever. I'm like, well, we do focus on service. I don't have any open bays. I don't have any hours left to sell. I'm doing the service department a favor if I can scoop up and buy those cars before they actually show up for their appointment, sort of, kind of.
That's
not
great.
really, because I'll threaten to sublet it if they don't get it through recon fast enough. But I don't know. How about you, Ryan? What did you guys see in your part of the world?
I thought it was going to be a lot worse than what it was, and it did not hurt or affect us in a way that I think a lot of people imagined it to. You know, you still get the 1 every 10, maybe 1 every 15 customer that kind of takes advantage of it and that wants us to go above and beyond when it comes to deliveries or doing test drives with no intention to buy. But for the most part, I think it's a true testament that shows how much people really like to get out on the lot and walk and touch and feel a bunch of different cars. And even though somebody's looking for something specific, they still like to be around a lot of cars and a lot of different color options and get a feel for the space. And it's just a lot. It's a strong thing to sell.
Okay, one thing we're finding is consumers are not transacting totally online.
Right.
The very smallest percent of customers are pulling the trigger with digital retail. It's not happening. Now, see, like I've said in previous broadcasts, I like to fill out my paperwork in advance, but I still physically go to the doctor.
Yeah.
People are not giving their financial information, and people want them to watch those cheesy videos. They're not going to watch those cheesy damn videos. Matter of fact, the videos offend consumers. Reports have shown that.
Well, Jim, even in the back of the house for fixed, I know Audi requires us. We have to be able to take payments online, even for our service customers. And very few people are utilizing it. So, you know, I've always said, and just for anybody on the show who doesn't know, I worked at the first group I worked for. We sold the very first car on Shop Click Drive, 100% online, been shipping to the lower 48 my entire career in operations. So this whole digital retailing thing to me is kind of like, guys, this is just retailing. But for them to force it on the fixed ops side of things, you know, and we've got it, we can text them the link and they can pay via Stripe or whatever the heck that is. But we still don't see a lot of usage, even on those lower ticket items.
Manufacturers haven't got a clue. And by the way, I want to inject something in this broadcast before we end it. I've got a news source that I use, and I'm going to name the news source, just a big news source that I use. And it says, consumers' information was pilfered, never knew they had a digital relationship with this particular vendor for VW Group of America. The automaker reported that hackers had accessed the data in electronic files that a vendor, Shift Digital of Birmingham, Michigan, had left unsecured. So I think that pretty well, I got it out of a news source that stands by.
Was that this week's edition, Jim?
It's the one that Bobby's article was in.
Okay. All right.
Yep.
I got 2 V-dubs and an Audi, and I got a little bit of work I got to do now.
The customer's going to be a little hot. Okay, as we get down to the last couple of minutes of today's broadcast, poor old Max is sitting over there bored out of his mind. Max, what's going on with you?
Listen, a few observations. If you don't have a succession plan, this is the time to sell, right? The valuations are insane, right? So just do it, pull the trigger. The next observation is the inventory, right? You're right. It's musical chairs, and you got to live, on half. Put the half away because you'll need it to offset the depreciation, right? This depreciation will happen so quickly.
Yep.
I mean, you wouldn't have time to spell depreciation, right? The next observation is on CarMax. I mean, guys, maybe I live in alternate universe, but I guarantee you that the dealer count with Edmunds will only go up, not down.
Yep.
Right? And the dealer count with Car Gurus will only go up, not down. Right? Because like I said on the previous broadcast, the gross profit and the net profit that the dealers are experiencing now makes them lazy, and it's corrupting. Right? It takes away the incentive to do anything. Why would I call Edmunds even though they can give me tainted information? I'm at $8,000 a car. I'm laughing all the way to the bank. I'm not going to call Car Gurus because they're selling my leads to Carvana. I'm at $8,000 a car.
For now,
That's not going to last, Max. It's not going to last.
if you're not planning 6 months
No,
in
but
advance,
a
you're
lot
done.
of dealers think that way. A lot of dealers think that way. It's only what's right in front of them.
Exactly.
And then they go,
Matt.
"Oh shit,
Hey, Matt.
maybe I should have."
Max, what do you think these hyper gross profits are going to do to dealer reputations over a period of time once the customers know that they've been?
Listen,
That's a fantastic question.
Once they got to bail
I
out
gotta
of
take
these
my partner,
puppies
Scott Lewis,
and they
for that.
find
That's
out that they didn't buy a car, they performed a wedding.
Yeah.
Well, I think it takes two to tango, right? And if you make an $8,000 to $18,000 a car, the customer is a willing participant. Maybe it's the fear of missing out. Not everybody is a laydown, right? But at the end of the day, the dealer's reputation is so bad to begin with that this will not do anything to it, right? The dealers are safe. Let's be honest. Go for it.
We're already scum, people.
I'm not.
They already hate us.
Right. And
We're not
listen,
going to get any scummier. That's what you're
Jim,
saying.
I'll make this argument, right? That, dealers have been abused by customers, right? In the
We're
last
not that
15
way.
years.
We're not that way.
Right. They've been abused. They come in. I have the invoice. I know dealer cash. I know every interest rate. I know the buy rate. Right. And dealers have been taking it on the chin for over a decade. Finally, the tables turn. Right. And they have a year, maybe a year and a half of these tremendous gross profits. Go for it, guys. You deserve it.
You deserve it. Yeah, the thing about it
Only
is
you, Max.
And
I don't disagree.
Vendors. We pay vendors to tell the consumers that we're scum.
Right.
I mean, every vendor that you're paying is talking about what scum we are. Think when I first went after Carfax, the dishonest car salesman was lying his ass off to the customer until the little cartoon fox jumped up and ratted his ass out. And they position themselves as the hero against the evil car dealer.
Yep.
That's every vendor you're doing business with. Quit it. I mean, you look at, and now all of a sudden, Car Gurus.
That's not everyone, Jim. That is not everyone, Jim.
Yeah, Tim doesn't do it either. We're on the good guy side.
Okay. You guys don't do it.
There aren't many.
I'm talking about the good vendors. The good vendors. Okay.
And it's a big job if you're holding the rest of them accountable for your clients. It's a big job.
The biggest thing the biggest thing the devil ever tricked people into
Believing in his faith.
was convincing people he didn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
The devil convinced people he didn't exist. That's the biggest trick he ever played. The biggest trick Jim Ziegler ever played is I convinced people I'm not a vendor.
That's that's a good point.
Oh, Jim.
Hey, think about that. Well, hey guys, we have been on 1 hour. This has been one of the best shows we've ever done. Everybody agree with that?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Thank you.
Probably because we had Rosenfield on, we had Christy on, we put the duck in the mix. I mean, Martell, the SEO Animal. I mean, who could not love that face? Look at this.
It's a face only a mother could love.
Hey, with that beard, you know
I
what?
love you,
I
Tim.
gotta say, you remind me of Bluto and Popeye.
I do like spinach.
Yeah, no, Bluto is the bad
Popeye.
guy.
Bluto likes
Bluto's the
burgers.
bad guy.
I know. Yeah,
He's the bad guy.
he had
Of
hair
course,
though.
we got
If
the
I could have
Mad
kept
Russian.
my hair like Bluto, I'd have been
We
all
got
over
the
that.
Mad Russian here. Look at this. I mean, look at this lineup. I mean, what a likely bunch. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is a weekly show. It's on my personal Facebook page and other social media pages. It's going to be on LinkedIn. It's going to be every Tuesday live on my personal Facebook page. And the replays are going to be all over social media. And I urge you to subscribe to this show and watch it every week and send links to your friends. Yeah, share this broadcast. Anyway, everybody wave goodbye to the crowd.